Hello everyone. Thank you so much for joining today's webinar covering Assemble's new functionality. In today's session, you'll get a sneak peek into AutoCAD architecture and AutoCAD MEP support within Assemble. During this presentation, all lines will remain muted to preserve the quality of the recording. If you have a question at any time, please use the question panel on the right side of your screen, and our team will answer them shortly. We will also review questions at the end of the webinar. So again, just enter the questions into that question panel. And we will also be sending out a recorded version of this presentation to you tomorrow. Now let's get things started. It's my pleasure to introduce you to today's speaker, Tim Kelly, our Senior Product Manager here at Assemble. Go ahead, Tim.
Thanks, Amanda. So today what I'll start with is quickly going through our agenda, and then we'll dive into some models within AutoCAD. So to start, I want to talk a bit about Assemble's response to all the different requests that we've had for AutoCAD through basically the history of Assemble and what we continue to plan to do in the future. Then for a minute, I'm going to talk about that transitional period of a project where you move from working from the engineering drawings and engineering models, which are typically those Revit models, and sometimes AutoCAD MEP, but then into those fabrication models that you're working with subcontractors to coordinate and ultimately create the fabrication drawings from. From there, we'll talk about changes that occur during that coordination effort, as well as maybe bulletins that come out during the construction process. And then we're going to touch on a recently released feature, sharing this information out to Procore if you guys are using Procore as a system. And then a few minutes on what's next. Before we do dive in, for those of you that are on the line that aren't aware of Assemble, Assemble is a cloud-based platform. Ultimately, we allow you to publish from your model authoring system out to Assemble, and then invite your team members, whether that's in pre-construction and bidding, or in the construction process, invite in other members that might not have access to this model data otherwise. So the idea is about sharing the data and the geometry out to users across your project team for decision making. If you want to learn more, please let us know. We've got a lot of information that we can provide. So in the questions panel, please let us know if you want more information about Assemble as a product, but we'll go ahead and move on from here. So I want to start by saying over the course of my time at Assemble and really Assemble as a company, we've fully supported Revit models, and through that period we've attempted to lightly support AutoCAD for those few customers that were really vocal about wanting the data out of AutoCAD. But we really never fully took on the task of saying we're going to support AutoCAD formats and others outside of Revit. So over the past year or so, we've actually started really diving in and talking with a number of customers about how they would like to use this AutoCAD information and why it's important to incorporate that into the Assemble system. So with all that said, what we've done in the past several months is actually set up a team that we're calling our publishing platform, and these guys, this team is actually dedicated to support a number of formats moving forward. Beyond AutoCAD, we've heard a number of requests for other model formats, and what we want to do as an organization moving forward is accept all of those formats that you're working with on your project, so that beyond the design and understanding the data coming out of Revit, now out of AutoCAD, you actually have a complete idea of your project across all of those various model formats. And what that means is beyond incorporating just the geometry, you actually have access to use that data. So we're bringing that information out of whatever format that it's in as a platform to author in into our system, consuming both the geometry and the data. With that said, what are some of the benefits of working with AutoCAD models? And this is both fabrication models as well as engineering models, but primarily, and from my experience in BIM management or coordinating projects, the primary focus is the models coming from your subcontractors. So From my role as a BIM manager in the past, one of the important things to do was, as you were transitioning from that design model into the fabrication and going through that coordination effort, you wanted to understand what differs, what's different, how are you changing things. As those things are changing, does that mean what the subcontractor's modeling is meeting the engineering requirements? Are you looking at things in a different way where it might change your schedule or your sequencing? If you've initially put in a sequence of maybe the HVAC ductwork going in first and then the plumbing going in second, did you, during that coordination effort, switch those two so now you have to reverse the sequence on those? All of those things can impact the schedule of the project. Additionally, though, from my experience, a number of times you actually have maybe poorly coordinated design drawings, and as you go through that coordination effort, you have a number of changes. I'm sure you guys are aware that have done this coordination process as well, that you likely can expect change order requests to come in based off of these changes that occur. From my experience, it's really difficult to understand exactly what changed when you're looking at maybe a series of 20 or 30 different models. Well, Assemble, as a feature, one of our biggest things that customers like to use is the ability to show changes between any two iterations of a model. We make it really simple where you can drill into a specific subset of information. Right here I'm looking at one level of ductwork model, and I can actually go in and show changes between those two models. I can do this on version 1 against version 2, or I can do this on version 1 against version 50. It doesn't matter which two models, we can actually dial into the changes. And you'll notice here that there aren't very many changes within this model. Very few things changed for this particular section. But if you're looking at comparing this against the change order, and maybe a bulletin came out during construction and you need to validate what they placed in this change order because things are already coordinated, you're able to drill in and see exact quantities that change between their fabrication models rather than looking at maybe the designer's models and seeing what changed there. This is going to allow you to drill into exactly what changed and what's being fabricated that comes from that model there. So another feature within Assemble is to really provide the ability to drill into your models, and I have a number of models turned on here. But the idea is to use data sets within the model to drill down and isolate the components that are important and get the resulting data or resulting view that's important for you. And when you're sitting in a coordination meeting, you're able to do that within Navisworks, but a lot of times whenever you're sitting in a project planning session, you may not have Navisworks on maybe the project manager's machine that you're running from, or a variety of situations where it's important to use something that allows you to very quickly dial into a subset of information. So I'll give a kind of a quick example here and say that potentially you have an RFI that comes through during coordination, and it's talking about the hangers. So you want to very quickly use a filter through Assemble to isolate the hangers across all of your plumbing models or piping models. From there, you're reading the information in the RFI, and it's talking about what's left to be done. And you know from your project that you've finished floors 1 through 5 so far, and all the hangers and all the pipe is installed, but 6, 7, and 8 is not installed. So you then further want to isolate the hangers across 6, 7, and 8. And so now here we can actually see that I've just created a very quick view isolating the hangers on these 3 floors, and I can see how many and what kind they are, and do they pertain to that RFI or not, and I can continue to filter it down until I get the information that I need. And maybe it's how many are affected. If it's potentially a back-ordered item or a long lead item, you can actually drill into these things and very quickly understand the impact on your project or the data that you need to respond to an RFI in some situations. So as you're creating these views and drilling down to this type of information, I know for many of you that are on the call today, you've listened to us talk about sharing information during the bidding process with I2Foot. I2Foot is a partner of ours where we actually leverage their ability to reach out to subcontractors and their bid solicitation platform to share this information out so that those bidders and the GCs, you guys, are actually leveraging the information built in the model here to share with subcontractors during that bidding process. Primarily, Through our research, we've actually found that most models today are in Revit format, and they're actually coming out from designer models typically. And that's very good for the bidding process, but during construction, when you transition into the AutoCAD formats or other formats you might be dealing with, you're also working typically with a project management solution. Well, we've actually recently announced a relationship with Procore where we're doing that same type of sharing that we've talked a lot about that in the past with I²foot, now with Procore as well. So within Assemble, you can create views isolating specific situations or areas in a project, share entire models, or share out the entire project. When you do this sharing, you can either include all of the data and the inventory there, or you can isolate and just share the viewer only. When you share this information out to Procore, you have the ability to set within the Procore platform permissions on who has access to this view. So from the Assemble side, you're sharing this information out with people that aren't in your Assemble platform. What that then means is that these become read-only views. On the Procore side, you're actually currently reading those models and being able to view those models. In the future, we're going to expand upon this and we will be including the ability to link information from Procore directly into the model and vice versa, share model data into the Procore system so that you're leveraging more data connection between the two platforms. So very quickly going through all of that, I just wanted to touch on a few things that are identified as next up for us, and then I'll get into a very short demo of using the product. Next up, we've identified as stepping into Civil 3D. For many projects, you've got models from Revit, AutoCAD, and Civil 3D, and then often you have structural models from Tekla or SDS2 or maybe some others out there. But we've identified AutoCAD Civil 3D as a high request, and that we'll be supporting this in the near future as well. So this is a lightweight integration at this point, or publishing at this point. We're actually stepping through collecting all of the right data and making sure that we're grabbing all of the information as we publish into Assemble for Civil 3D. In addition to that, we've actually stepped into the plant design space, and with a number of you guys, you do both plant design, plant construction, as well as commercial work. So having the ability to bring in information in this space is huge for us as an organization, and what we want to do is get as much of this model information into one unified platform as possible. And for you guys that are using this, that you have the ability to apply Assemble in the process that you guys work in Assemble with, whether it's a plant project or a commercial project. So with that said, some of the next things that we're looking at, I mentioned Tekla before. We're talking about integrating or bringing in Tekla data very soon. And then from there, I actually want to allow you guys to help us drive what that direction is. So continue to make requests. Continue to let us know what you want to work with. If it's IFC specifically because you don't want to deal with the authoring platforms and you just want someone to give you an IFC model and get that into Assemble, let us know. If it's any other format, let us know, and we'll work on stepping through what those requirements are, what that data looks like, and how we can support your project. So continue to let us know. So before we go into any questions, let me quickly switch to a project in. So currently, with AutoCAD support, we specifically have identified AutoCAD MEP and AutoCAD Architecture as the first tier and first rollout that we're going to release. From there, we have obviously a number of third-party systems that we want to continue to support, and that includes Fabrication CAD or HydroCAD or CAD Duct. And again, in that realm, you guys continue to let us know what's important to you. And if you want to try out and start testing out AutoCAD right now and look at your model formats and start getting that into the system, let us know and we can set up site so that you can test out your models and let us know what properties are important to you, so we're making sure that we're supporting that and releasing information that is important to your project. So let me let this model load really quickly. And now I have a duct model in here, and I just want to very quickly highlight a few of the different things that we're looking at here. Within this particular model, we're actually pulling information from AutoCAD, just like we do with Revit, and we're creating information on top of this to make sure that we're organizing it in a very similar fashion to what you're used to seeing within the Revit models within Assemble. So you'll notice that a couple of quick points, and we'll go from there into questions, but within AutoCAD, we don't have information like we have structured in Revit. Revit has a very structured set of data regarding categories, families, types, etc. Within AutoCAD, we have to create some of that information based on the data that's there. So we're actually creating a category here so we can organize it the same way that we do with Revit. We're actually creating a type name the same way and organizing the same way we do with Revit. A lot of this is driven by the same kind of common data structure that you would see within the IFC file format. So we're looking at a lot of these things in the same way to make sure that as we pull this data in, it's organized just like you would experience within Revit. Or sorry, within Assemble already. So with that said, let's go ahead and go into some questions.
Great. Thanks so much, Tim. Really good presentation so far and the demo itself. Before we begin with questions, just want to send you guys a reminder to please enter your questions into the questions panel on your right side. All right. I think the first and most popular question that's come through so far is, when will this be available?
We currently have a availability through a separate site than you might already have. And if you're interested in testing it out with that availability, please let us know. We're looking to make this generally available on your current sites by the end of the year.
Great, thank you. Our next question, can you save views when comparing models?
Yeah, absolutely. So you can actually save views before comparing models, and I think the question might be, can you save a view that jumps right into a comparison? Currently, the answer is no, and we've had that actually as a request a number of times, but you do have the ability to save a view down to exactly what you want to compare and then run a comparison on that view. So you can filter for comparison.
Great, thank you. Our next question, can I still change Assemble properties for AutoCAD models?
Yeah, absolutely. So one of our recent releases this year, and I'll actually jump into it very quickly, was the ability to add properties, what we call Assemble properties, to your model. Within AutoCAD, you have those same properties and can actually add any properties you want here. But you do have the ability to add those Assemble properties into your AutoCAD models. And ultimately, that information can be then exported out and shared with Excel. So any of those properties that maybe you group your information by within your AutoCAD models, you're able to then take that downstream and export that information to Excel. You can, too, change those Assemble properties within Excel and import that back into Assemble.
Great, thank you so much. Our next question, there were a couple questions if there's integration within Civil 3D. I think you touched on this a bit. If you could just retouch on it, please.
Yes, so I will mention that when we release AutoCAD support later this year, our plan is to support firmly AutoCAD architecture and AutoCAD MEP. The data structure within Civil 3D is a bit different, and so we're working through bringing that information in and making sure that everything is coming across clean. And so we'll be releasing Civil 3D after we release the first version of the MEP and architecture.
Sounds good. Our next question, is this going to work the same as it currently works with Revit models?
Yeah, so we'll have, with this initial release, one exclusion, and that's the ability to synchronize data changes within Assemble back to the authoring platform. With Revit, there are a number of properties that you can actually manipulate or change within Assemble and then push back to Revit. With AutoCAD, in an effort to get this out to you guys as soon as possible, we're going to exclude for this first iteration the ability to synchronize data back to AutoCAD, and later we'll release something that allows for that. Otherwise, all of the ability to filter, group, sort based on any of your model properties, share those views with other users, export that information to Excel, export search sets or selection sets to Navisworks. All of those features you're used to dealing with within Assemble will be available for AutoCAD models. Additionally, just to mention, I don't believe I mentioned it so far, but with this, you're going to be able to bring in your models, whether Revit or AutoCAD, side by side. So being able to federate both maybe your architectural Revit model with your mechanical AutoCAD MEP model.
Great, thanks, Tim. Our next question is Plant 3D something that's on the roadmap for Assemble?
Yes, I believe so. So as I mentioned before, we have a team now dedicated for the foreseeable future working on different authoring platforms. And Plant 3D is one that's been identified as one of those important common platforms that many are using today. So that is on the roadmap.
Perfect. Our next question, AutoCAD offers a number of methods for linking data to the graphics. Can you comment on which of these you are supporting?
I'm actually unclear on that question. Can you add a bit more information about what you're looking for? While we're waiting, and we can go on to the next question, but I'll fill in just a little bit about what I think the question is asking, and that's you have information that you're adding within AutoCAD, and it might be in a data table. We would, as I mentioned earlier, today the idea is getting this in front of you guys and asking for feedback on exactly what model formats and what data and what information you'd like to see brought into Assemble, and we'll do our best to support all of those different data sets and bring those into Assemble.
Thanks, Tim. Next question we have here, are we going to be able to section by floor?
If you're talking about creating rules based on the floor, currently, yes. If you're asking if there's going to be the ability to create like a model sectioning or a sectioning tool within the viewer, I'll say currently we don't have that, but come stop by our booth at Autodesk University if you're going to be there this year. We will be demoing some enhancements and new features within the viewer. So please stop by. I can't really fill in a lot more information right now, but it's coming.
Great, thank you. Another question, does the integration with AutoCAD require a separate add-in?
No. When you're able to publish, what happens is, let me back up, I'm sorry. The answer is no. Assemble requires a small plugin to publish from either Revit or AutoCAD. When you install that publisher, that plugin, it'll go into all of the products that you have on your computer, regardless of the year or that format. So it's the same publisher for AutoCAD 2015, 2016, 2017, as well as Revit 2015, 16, etc. So no, it'll be one publisher.
Great, thank you, Tim. That pretty much wraps up our questions. Do you have any final thoughts you'd like to include for all of our attendees? Just one final thought is that I want to reiterate, we love to get feedback on what you guys are working with and model formats that you see. Please feel free at any point in time to contact us and let us know
any particular formats that would be beneficial and help your project. As I mentioned, we're actually working on keeping a team dedicated to new formats and new platforms as we move into the future, and we want to understand from you guys what you see day to day and what model formats you're getting from whether it's engineering or construction or fabrication. So please do let us know, and we'll continue to work towards bringing in all the right data and geometry.
Great. Thanks again, Tim, and thank you everyone for attending. If you have any more questions, follow-up questions, would like to see a demo or start a structured evaluation with us, please email us at sales@assemblesystems.com. And thank you so much for attending. We hope you join us for another webinar. Have a good day.